Yalla Home
with Ana Schofield
and Big House.
Music's greatest songs worth covering. Original classic hitmakers.
Now, we're not going that far back today. Sometimes I go way, way back. I can get lost. I've been to the 50s with the music greats. Today, I'm going to 2017. So I think anyone listening probably will know the music that's going on underneath me right now. It is, of course, Imagine Dragons. Lots of juicy stuff to tell you about Imagine Dragons. They're an American pop rock band from Las Vegas, Nevada. And they consist of Dan Reynolds, a lead guitarist called Wayne Sermon, a bassist called Ben McKee, and a drummer called Daniel Platzman. All sound super glam, don't they? First gained exposure with the release of their single It's Time, and then that followed an award-winning debut studio album called Night Visions. That was 2012, and it resulted in chart-topping singles Radioactive. We've all thrashed around to that. Rolling Stone actually named Radioactive one of the best songs of the year, and they got all sorts. They went straight to number one on the Billboard Hot 100. The biggest rock hit of the year. Sort of the same words, just different order. MTV also called them the year's biggest breakout band, and it was one of those just bang, when a band launches to market and everyone loves it. That's what happened. They got some crazy stuff. They lost a band member, and it was Kim White, her name was. So there was two women in there. Because actually one of their wives joined the band, but Kim White sadly lost a battle to cancer, and that was really, really hard for them. There hadn't been any fighting, there hadn't been anything kind of untoward, and it took them a few days to actually come out and even talk about that when it happened. So I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. But also what you should know about Imagine Dragons is they didn't just pull the name out of a hat, because it is quite a weird name, isn't it? So every time they did an interview, from the moment they sort of landed on the scene in 2012, every reporter ever was going, so Imagine Dragons, talk to me about the name. And they were turning around going, yeah, well, it's just a thing. Finally, it was the lead singer, Dan Reynolds, that came out and went, all right, okay. The thing with Imagine Dragons, it's actually an anagram. None of the band have said what it's an anagram of. But apparently, if you listen to some of their songs, and if it's said backwards, you can work out what it is. They've never said it. Only the band members, in theory, know what it is. 4215 if you think you know what it is. But it's an anagram of something else. So their second album, Smoke and Mirrors, landed in 2015, immediately reached number one in the US, Canada, and the UK. And then they had top 40 single, Bet My Life. Then they did Gold, then they do Shots. If you're a fan of their songs, you're going to know all these. You're going to know exactly what. It wasn't till they really got to Evolve in 2017, and on that album Evolve, there was Believer, Thunder, and Whatever It Takes. And I feel that's where I enter stage left. So in 2017, suddenly I'm playing them all over the radio and loving them. And the thing with, I talk about it a lot here on the Music Greats, but the thing with being a radio presenter, if you're in commercial radio, often songs can be actually you end up turning the radio off, because if you think in a normal 4-hour show, you might play one of the songs that's on a red rotation 3 times. And if you've got 5 shows a week, you're doing the math, do the math on that. You're hearing it so much, especially when you're actually queuing it up and getting it ready to play so that you can talk up to the vocal or you come off the back of it. By the time you finish doing that to the same song 3 times a day and you've played it for 3 months, you actually want to throw the whole thing at the wall. You'd never want to hear it again. That never happened to me with Imagine Dragons. Did I download all of their music? No, because I didn't need to, because I was playing it constantly. It was part of my job. But Believe, Thunder, and Whatever It Takes, I never get bored. And even playing it now, when I was sorting through which one of those 3 I was going to play, all of them I could have happily sat here and sung. In fact, we were looking at the lyrics, Ray and I, just to check. We have to check that the lyrics are clean, obviously, with the songs that we play. I sat here happily singing most of the verse. Very catchy. Obviously pop rock, but at the same time there's something lovely and sort of grungy about them. They're a bit thrashy. They remind me of a couple of bands from the 90s. But let's talk about them. So they have won 3 American Music Awards. It's absolutely unbelievable, actually, their stats. 9 Billboard Music Awards. They've got 1 Grammy. They've got an MTV Video Music Award and 1 World Music Award. In 2014, they were nominated for 14 Billboard Music Awards. 14. That's outrageous, including Top Artist of the Year and a Milestone Award as well. And that one recognises innovation and creativity of various artists, and it goes across the genres. So they really were doing their thing at that time. In April 2018, they were nominated 11 more times. They literally were just spanking it. Their stats of singles and downloads are crazy too. 35 million certified singles in the US and 20 million albums worldwide. They were the most streamed group of 2018 on Spotify. And they were the first rock act to have 2 songs, which was Believer and Thunder, to surpass 1 billion streams. So in terms of stats, they got it going on. If you want to know about them and how it happened, it's 2008. Dan Reynolds was at middle school with the drummer, Andrew Tolman. And Andrew Tolman went to this school called Brigham Young University. They were both students. They started playing together. Then they. Oh, hang on. It's too early. Sorry, not yet. I'm not ready. I've got more to say. So I love this whole thing of them getting together at school, because then they actually started adding people. A couple of people left. You've got Wayne Sermon, who graduated from Berklee College of Music. He started playing guitar. So you had a few people. Oh, Tolman's wife came on, so he recruited her, Brittany Tolman. She came in and she did a bit. So you can see there was a kind of fluidity to it. But ultimately, they created their band and they knew what they wanted to do. They released some EPs early on in 2010. Did kind of okay, but it wasn't till sort of 2012 that they really went boom. And then you've got Smoke and Mirrors, and you've got Evolve, and you've got Origins, and you've got all these crazy albums that were coming out. In terms of TV, they did crazy things. They did loads of guestings on TV, and that seems to be the thing as well at the moment. Everyone's doing that. Lots of singles promotion. They did sporting events. They performed at the World Cup Stadium in South Korea. They did the League of Legends World Championship, everything. Literally, they were the band to miss. But because they worked so hard, they then needed a hiatus. And when they took one, everyone went, Imagine Dragons have split up. This is a disaster. Bah, bah, bah. And of course, they hadn't at all. They hadn't split up at all. They're absolutely fine. And they're still very much together. So I'm just going to talk about the song. I'm itching to play it. Obviously, you can tell we got it primed and prepped in the background, ready to go. Just to mention Kim White and what Dan Reynolds said about her after they lost her. Today, the world lost the strongest person I know. And he said, Kim, I love you with all my heart. We are devastated, but we also know that you are finally free of the grasp of the illness. I hope you're smiling somewhere on the snowboard, carving through the heavens. We miss you, and we will see you again. You can see how much they loved her, and that was really hard for them. And it obviously, they're artists. It had an impact on their music, but they're alive and they're well, and they're going to produce more music. That's what they're saying. Let's talk about the song that I'm going to play, Whatever It Takes. It was, of course, 2017, the May of 2017. It was a promotional single through Interscope and various other things, and it became the 3rd single from the band's 3rd studio album. And Evolve was huge for them, absolutely huge, and became the official theme song for the WWE's PPV event, Battleground. So they also had that as well. They don't say much about the song other than, it's not like it's got the most amazing story and I can tell you that it came together in this wild way. It's not. They just wrote a really good song, and they just want to play it, and that's who they are. And this album was absolutely wonderful. So if you do want to download or stream one of their albums, I would go for Evolve, and you will love every track on it. Okay, it's time to play the song that I've been talking about. We nearly did a second ago. It's Whatever It Takes by Imagine Dragons, here on the Music Greats on Yalla Home.
It's Yalla Home.
With Ana Schofield
and Big Cass.